When did the religious image program come out in reference to the religion HCO policy letter, exhibit number 1?
Still objective to the form.
Well, it didn't come out with regard to that program, to that policy.
Okay. Which one came first?
The policy.
The policy being the exhibit, is that what you're talking about?
Exhibit number 1.
Right.
Okay.
And when exhibit number 1 states at the top, 29 October 1962, what does that date mean?
It should mean the date that he wrote it.
Ken, we'd stipulate that that's what it means.
Thank you. In 1970s, when you started or were involved with this religious image program, was there any reaction from the members of the San Francisco organization?
Objection is to the form.
Yes.
What type?
We received protests.
Why? What was being said?
Objection is to the form.
They had a number of staff that objected to it becoming a church in the sense of a organized religion.
And was there any pronouncements from the San Francisco org or any other network of Scientology as to, in response to these objections?
No, I would be the only one who would give a response.
And what was your response?
I just tried to explain that it was just necessary because there was the FDA trial. We are a church, after all, that it is called the Church of Scientology San Francisco. And this is just what we have to be.
At any time did you use the language of Mr. Hubbard contained in exhibit number 1 as to the significance or reasons for calling it a religion?
Objection is to the form.
No, not particularly. We sort of designed our own.
And what do you mean by designed our own?
Well, there was other things that we used, such as calling it a pan-denominational religion, an applied religious philosophy. We would use those phrases, which were also popular for us to use.
Objection, move to strike. Not responsive.
Turning now to Los Angeles, after the FBI raid, were there any more religious image programs?
Objection is to the form.
Well, there were some actions taken, but not to replace the original one. It just sort of got beefed up.
How?
For example, all of the filing cabinets with, say, just weekly reports or financial records had to all be labeled as confessional formularies with a sticker that said that on it, which sounded as if they had priest penitent records, which they didn't. But we had orders to label all of our files as confessional formularies.
Who gave you that order?
I don't know where it came from. It was just part of a legal strategy.
And did you carry out that order?
Yes.
Did anyone else?
It was done through the whole USGO.
Now, is this only in the Guardian's office, or is this in any office of any organization involving Scientology?
Objection is to the form.
It went out to other organizations.
Did it go out in an oral form or written form?
Written.
And from what office did it go out to other Scientology organizations?
It would go from the USGO down to the local org-GO, and the local AGPR would implement it.
Within the command channels of Scientology, can the head of a local org refuse to follow a directive from the Guardian's office?
Objection is to the form.
No.
Outside in the kitchen.
No, there's a drinking fountain. Just right there.
Spring water, though, to go
One of
right
the kitchens.
there.
Oh, spring water,
yeah,
that's right.
When you talked about this religious image campaign, this program, and some staff members were objecting to it, these staff members, what was their view of Scientology if in fact they're a staff member of something that's called the Church of Scientology?
Objection is to form it. Come on, Ken.
Speculation.
I mean, really, how can you ask a question like that?
What did they express to you?
Objection is to form.
They object to the trappings of it being a religion. The collar, the cross, the chapel, the very things that we were trying to put in.
The cross in Scientology, what is that a symbol of?
Objective form like foundation.
We were told, and it was part of the, actually on the minister's course, it was called the flowering cross. There might have been some other word in there. But it was just basically something that sort of looked Christian and yet wasn't. I don't really know who designed it.
Scientology a Christian church?
No.
Outside of being designated the national spokesperson for Scientology as a result of the FBI raid in 1977, were you ever designated to be a spokesperson for Scientology after that?
Okay, so objection to the form. What you're doing, Ken, is that every one of your questions you're loading up with about 2 sentences worth of testimony that supposedly came before. It's just absolutely improper. And I've been objected, but come on, stop. Just ask him some questions and let him give answers. All you're doing is making speeches. The questions are objectionable. They're leading, and they are in improper form.
Mr. Young, tell us of all the instances where you were spokesperson for Scientology.
Objection is to the form.
Well, other than the one at 77, I testified before a congressional subcommittee in 1977, which, while I did not represent all of Scientology, I was there as a Scientology person and with the full authority and direction of Scientology. I also appeared on the Tom Snyder Show, which is a 1-hour show after Johnny Carson for 1 hour. Again, basically, Scientology being discussed. Then as late as 1985, in Portland.
In what?
In Portland. I was interviewed during a big campaign there against a legal case. It was quoted in the New York Times and the St. Petersburg Times. And these would be instances where you are speaking for the organization.